Poveglia, a tranquil speck in the Venetian lagoon, is whispered about as the Island of No Return, or the Island of Ghosts. Its grim history began in the 18th century when it became a desperate quarantine station for bubonic plague victims. The quarantine was horrific. Individuals, often with slight illness, were forcibly sent to Poveglia, a journey from which few returned. Overcrowded and unsanitary lazarettos became death traps. Estimates suggest 100,000 to 160,000 people perished, their bodies hastily interred in mass plague pits. Some were even burned alive. Unsettlingly, over 50% of Poveglia's soil is composed of human ash and remains. The immense scale of death and undignified burials created a concentrated accumulation of suffering, imprinting deep agony on the island's soil. This pervasive dread, born from historical trauma, makes the island fertile ground for uncanny narratives. From quarantine to asylum, a new chapter of cruelty. In the 20th century, from 1922, Poveglia became an asylum for the mentally ill and later a nursing home until 1968. This brought a new horror: inhumane treatment, neglect, and severe abuse. Patients faced beatings, restraints, solitary confinement, and barbaric procedures like crude lobotomies, often leading to painful deaths. Their bodies joined the plague victims in the island's soil. Poveglia's transition from quarantine to asylum reveals a chilling pattern. Isolation for disease became isolation for society's undesirables. Its remoteness facilitated unchecked abuse, making it a repository for societal ills and concentrated despair, fueling haunting narratives, legends, and lingering presence. These tragedies cemented Poveglia's reputation as one of the world's most haunted places. Visitors report screams, moans, laughter, and an overwhelming sense of dread, with some claiming physical attacks. The most disturbing legend involves an asylum doctor who performed crude lobotomies, allegedly driven mad by ghosts, leaping to his death from the bell tower in the 1930s. Decades later, its tolling is still heard. Patients reportedly saw plague victims, amplifying their torment. Even redevelopment attempts failed, with crews abandoning work, disturbing restless spirits. Beyond sounds, a persistent smell of human decay is reported. This, with over half the soil being human remains, grounds the paranormal in physical reality. The extreme suffering left a profound, multisensory imprint, making the island truly cursed. Eastern State Penitentiary, ESP, in Philadelphia, operated from 1829 to 1971. Once the world's most famous prison, it pioneered the Pennsylvania system, strict solitary confinement for reform. This ideal devolved into cruel punishment. Prisoners spent up to 23 hours daily in isolation, forbidden to speak, sing, or hum, wearing hoods outside cells. Food passed through slits, and the only book was the Bible with an Eye of God skylight. Charles Dickens noted in 1842 that this psychological torment was immeasurably worse than any torture of the body. The Quakers' aim for reform through introspection often drove inmates to madness. Dickens' observation highlights the profound mental damage. This reveals a chilling truth. Horrific suffering can stem from misguided ideologies, shattering minds and creating a lingering, unsettling energy within the prison walls. The Tower of London, an iconic landmark, served as both a royal residence and a feared prison from 1100 to 1952. Its peak as a prison was the 16th, 17th centuries, holding countless high-profile figures who fell from grace. It stands as a testament to English history, marked by power struggles, treason, and fatal religious conflicts. On Tower Green, 3 English queens were executed: Anne Boleyn, 1536, Catherine Howard, and Lady Jane Grey, a 17-year-old pawn in a power game. Margaret Pole, 67, was also beheaded. The enduring mystery involves the princes in the tower. 12-year-old Edward V and his brother Richard vanished in 1483 after being sent there by their uncle, Richard III. In 1674, 2 small skeletons were found, confirmed in 1933 to match the princes' ages. The tower's history is dominated by political power struggles, treason, and brutal consequences. Executions were calculated moves in a deadly game. The prince's mystery exemplifies unresolved trauma. Hauntings stem from intense emotional anguish, betrayal, and loss of power. The victims' high status and dramatic ends ensure their stories and spirits remain part of the tower's narrative, making it a living museum of its dark past. Though not primarily a torture site, brutal methods were used to extract information authorized by the Privy Council. Anne Askew, a Protestant reformer, was repeatedly racked. Jesuit priest John Gerard, imprisoned in 1597, vividly described manacles or suspension torture, hoisted by his wrists, causing extreme pain and fainting. Modern studies confirm such torture causes permanent damage. This systematic physical agony left a persistent energetic residue, with perceived hauntings believed to be direct echoes of the intense suffering. The tower's brutal history birthed famous ghost legends. Anne Boleyn is the most persistent, seen as a headless procession in the Chapel Royal. Lady Jane Grey's white figure haunts the battlements. The princes in the tower appear as 2 lost boys in the White Tower. Other spirits include Margaret Pole and Arbella Stewart, along with Henry VI, Sir Walter Raleigh, and even a bear ghost. The most prominent hauntings are high-profile figures whose tragic, well-documented ends amplify the legends. These perceived hauntings serve as a cultural mechanism to remember pivotal, brutal historical moments, making the tower a living testament to power and betrayal. From Poveglia's plague-ridden shores to eastern states' silent cells, and the Tower of London's blood-soaked stones, we've glimpsed the profound truths behind the world's most haunted sites. These are chilling legacies of immense human tragedy, etched into forgotten places. Whether from disease, torment, or betrayal, profound suffering leaves an indelible mark. But as we step away, a question lingers. Are these merely echoes, or do tormented souls still walk among us, bound to where their stories ended? The veil between worlds remains thin, inviting contemplation of these forgotten yet ever-present haunted grounds.